Welcome. My name is Felipe Talona Jr., and this is my lovely partner and wife.
Carolina Orlovsky Tolona.
This is our silver salsa. Today we're going to start off with a little bit of posture. We're going to think of our bodies being long and tall. Even though it's a social dance, we want to still elevate it by bringing in what we have in ballroom and classical style of dancing into our salsa. So what we're going to think about is we're going to think about our bodies being long and tall by thinking of 5 boxes. You're going to think of the first box going from the foot to the knees, second box going from the knees to the hips, third box going from the hips to the rib cage, fourth box going from the rib cage to the shoulders, and the fifth box going from the shoulders to the head. You want to align all these boxes so none of them are shifted in any awkward position. So you want to think of stacking one on top of the other. Each box is independently light and lifted. So I don't want a crunched box, I want a lifted box, nice and long. So as I'm standing here, when I'm dancing with my partner, if I turn sideways, I'm also going to think of taking my lower abdomen, this is slightly below the belt, and pulling my abdomen in towards my spine. As I do this, many of you guys are going to protrude your tailbone back. And what I want you to think of doing is tucking that tailbone underneath you. A good way of thinking about it is your glutes or your bum hugging your tailbone. So you should feel like it's hugging your tailbone. And that should open up your hip flexors, or this part of your hips, as opposed to being in this position. Socially, a lot of us, we tend to dance in this position, and so we want to think of creating that turnout with the thighs by opening up those glutes and wrapping them around the tailbone and having a nice posture instead of a slouch posture. Once again, with those boxes, what we want to think of doing is thinking of keeping the shoulders down, and that compresses the bodies down into the floor. So not lifted shoulders where we're in this position, but shoulders down so we create a light, nice long neck with the body.
I like to think of it as engaging body parts. So I like to think of having my hip flexors engaged forward, and that's caused by wrapping, the feeling that something is being wrapped around my back. And now I want to think of the opposite energy, that something is actually wrapping forward so that my rib cage stays inward as opposed to open or outward. So you don't want to be dancing in this posture. You actually want the rib cage to be rolled inward so it's quiet. So all of this is quiet. Your shoulders, you can take them and lift them up as an exercise and drop them down and elongate your neck so that you engage your lats. Now your lats are located very close to your underarms, right underneath there, and you want that muscle to be activated or engaged. So when we talk about frame and we go to lift our arms, we're not lifting our arms without energy. We're lifting our arms that are engaged. So there should be some resistance. If your arms are too light, when you lift them, you're not engaging that muscle enough. So let's do that again. Lift the shoulders, roll them back, engage the lats, and extend the arms. And now we're going to talk about how we get into frame or closed dance hold.
So when you're dancing, we like to have a little exercise that we did in our bronze. All we're going to do is we're going to take our hands back and we're going to extend them to our partner with energy and then touch. Again, with energy and then touch. Again, with energy and then touch. Make sure that when you're doing this, try not to lean forward because then we're going into each other's space and then I'm going to tilt and pull my partner off balance. Or once again, I'm going to take my body and energy back. So once again, we talk about those boxes and you see how the bodies align. And if I extend my arms forward, my body's still aligned, or you see those boxes aligned. Can you see how the boxes aren't aligned now? Can you see how they're not aligned now? So that becomes very important, and it's a good visual tool to understand how to keep your body very balanced and over your own feet. So we'll try that exercise again, energy and touch. We'll try it a different way. We're going to lift up the arms for the ladies, and we're going to bring them down, energy and touch. Gentlemen, always to our waist level. We usually get into an awkward position. If we get over here, awkward position. Yeah? Ladies, awkward position too. Some of you guys always lift up the arms, so it becomes very difficult. Also, some of you guys might be interpreting this for the ladies as pushing down so much, and guys, you might be thinking of lowering it down too much. Lift them up again and find her waist. Now, every lady is different and then every gentleman is different. So you must think of her waist instead of your waist or just the person that you constantly dance with. One more time, we'll lift it up. And energy. Very easy to connect with one another. Many of you guys are going to say, well, oh my gosh, that's so much more tone than I'm used to. Yes, it is. But what happens is later on it becomes a lot freer through discipline, as opposed to having no discipline and then trying to lead more difficult dances, more difficult steps. It becomes awkward. So by doing these exercises, energy, now I'm going to play with my partner, and her job is to try to guess where my hand's at. There's only two options: down or up. Each time being very light when we connect, very light when we connect, very light when we connect, very light when we connect. The better you are, the faster you are. To connect, to connect. Remember, we're not touching, then we're touching. That's going to make it feel a lot lighter. What happens is now when we're dancing, it's a lot easier to change from one to the other, as opposed to some relaxed feeling, and then this is loose and then we're not connecting.
I think you've summed it all up. Just remember, practice makes perfect. So before dancing, it's really important to give your body a chance to warm up. If you've been inactive all day and you're going to dance, give yourself a chance to find out where your lats are, to figure out where your hip flexors are, to really elongate your spine and be your longest, tallest self. That would make your dance patterns look and feel amazing.